can't say that to me. Can he say that to me?
Did you caddy for him in that Ryder Cup?
No, not a chance.
It's the president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela.
He was telling this 56.
Oh my God, this flight's going to LA and you're going to Hong Kong. Quick, get off, get off.
This is a good one, actually. I don't know who sent this in.
And I just turned around and I said, listen, you don't want to meet Cricket Theodore.
Because you play your best when you say nothing at all.
Well, lads, back by popular demand, we've got a lot of questions come in from the public. You want to kick us off, Billy?
Yeah, why not? Welcome to Series 2. What was the tour like in the old days? Personalities, travel, etc. What has changed besides the money?
Terry.
Just about everything's changed, I would think. I guess it depends how long you go back and when you started, but we touched on this a bit in the other one where, you know, we were sleeping in tents and putting four in a room and making ends meet. And nowadays, I don't know about you, but nobody tends to even share a room anymore. You get your own room, I guess because it's affordable. I think the money changing has changed everything. When we first started,
Yeah,
we weren't really working for money, were we? We were working because we enjoyed it, and you were sort of breaking even, maybe a bit better, weren't you, in the early days? I'm talking about 30 years ago.
Losing money more like
Well, if you didn't lose any, you'd had a result.
you weren't making anything.
I mean, a
no,
lot
for
of
sure.
thanks has to go to Tiger for that. It changed it for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. The purse is pretty much.
I mean, there were no yardage books, were there? You had to do your own yardage book. There was no range balls. You had to stand out in the middle of the range.
A lot of work. Council wheels. Yeah. We used to split, didn't we, into groups because you genuinely, especially if there was back-to-back tournaments, you'd never have enough time to get all the info for the golf course on your own. So you'd get like 4 lads do 1 9. Did you do this where you'd say, right, you 4 go and do that 9, we'll go do that 9, and then you meet in the pub and compare all the
Well,
notes?
yeah, I think...
You always used to compare notes because
I
you'd
think
make mistakes, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you had to.
I think a band of us used to all share that information because some guys, I guess, they caddied for certain players that hit it off the planet would get yardages from obscene places.
Yeah.
So,
but the job was harder anyway because you'd get, like, when you had them situations where a guy's, I don't know, 40 yards offline, you had to be very careful, didn't you, about getting the angle right.
angle correct, yeah.
Whereas nowadays, with the modern yardage books, there'll be a sprinkler, even if it is 40 yards offline, it'll be in that book that's, a lot closer.
Well, I remember when we first came here to St Andrews many moons ago, and he'll tell you.
Oh my God.
I mean, you were getting a lamp post over there and the church spire over that side, and trying to line it up and get the angles correct.
I think you guys would have go back longer than me, but because I started on the ladies' tour. But the first time I came here to St Andrews was for the 95 Open, caddied for Jonathan Lomas. And at that time, there was a yardage book, albeit a bit more basic than what it is now. But I was terrified because it's the first time I'd got to a golf course. They wouldn't allow paint on the course here at St Andrews. I think
correct.
they do now.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't allow you to paint the dots that we had on tour every week. And the sprinklers were like this size.
Correct.
With nothing on them.
Yeah.
And they're everywhere. There'd be 30 sprinklers in a fairway. Now, you know what it's like caddying here. You could be downwind at the first Thursday, into the wind at the first Friday, right to left Saturday. So you had to have these sprinklers with a 80-yard window of where you might be, with no numbers on them. So all these sprinklers had little rust patterns on them.
Correct.
And you drew the rust pattern, and you knew that that one that had that rust pattern on it. That was the 160
one was
front,
chipped or
and the one over there.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't. There was nothing on them, and I was thinking, oh my
But
God.
to top this off, I think he had a classic, and I think it was Wentworth, not so many years ago, that Victor Dubison arrived Thursday morning and said to Billy, "Where's the yardage book?" He said, "No, in the pro shop." He didn't even go to the range. He'd have flown in that morning, straight to the pro shop, got the yardage book and went to the first tee.
Good luck.
Yeah, led by 3.
But
There's something to be said in that, isn't there?
Yeah.
But that's how it's changed, you know. I mean, the yardage books that they put out today, I mean, you can basically just rock up and go.
The whole thing, really, to wrap that question up, it's not comparable, is it? It's chalk and cheese.
It is
From
chalk and cheese.
30 years ago, it was hard work. You didn't have the access to food and all the rest of it, so you were trying to balance all this stuff and get the job done and get off and get something to eat and then go find somewhere to stay. Whereas nowadays, it's all done in advance. You know where you're staying before you get there. There's a lounge to get something to eat. The yardage books are there for you. All you're doing is checking a few things off. It's easier, but in that regard. But then you're playing for a lot more money, and I think it just got more serious, and more is required of you, perhaps.
We'd always get to the train station. You and Ricky'd look after the bags, and I'd go walking the streets trying to find some room at the inn. That's how it used
and
to
then
be.
you wouldn't call us when you found one because you didn't have a phone. You'd have to come back and go, right, there's one up there, that's 23 quid a night. There's one down there, that's 19 quid a night, but that one's further. Where do you want to just work it out? Crazy.
All right, next one, Billy, for you. Apart from the obvious, what ways do caddies support players that people may not be aware of?
Well, you're literally the navigator for the rally driver, aren't you? I mean, there's more to it than meets the eye than just try to get the right club in their hand. You're an agony ant, aren't you? You're a punch bag. There's also, you're getting the scraps out on the golf course, fighting each other, but it's basically try to keep the mind in a sane place as much as you can, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're
they're all different
psychologist,
levels.
butler, punch bag. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that. You know, they think, well, you just pick up the bag, give him a yardage, and hand him a club. But it's understanding how the guy's mind
it goes back
works.
to that previous question a bit. Do you not think that that's changed over the years? Because when we first started caddying, it was turn up, keep the clubs clean,
And shut up.
Yeah, there's more to it than meets the eye these
And
days.
as time's gone on, you know, it's everything else, isn't it?
Well, it's the original question, isn't it? Personalities.
Yeah.
Personalities have changed, haven't they? It's got a whole lot more serious and miserable to a certain extent, hasn't
Well,
it?
back there was guys that employed caddies that wouldn't go for a beer with them. They just employed him because he would turn up on time, he would do the job, and he wouldn't want anything to do with him after they got off the 18th. Well, now, you know, quite often you'll finish the round. Right, what we doing for dinner? Let's go for a couple of pints. Because your mates, ain't you? It's just, it has changed. It's definitely changed over the years. Can I fire one off here? Billy. This is a good one, actually. I don't know who sent this in. But would you rather be on the bag for an open winner or see Leeds promoted to the Premiership and then win it?
Oh, that's not fair, is it?
Right? That's offside.
It's not a question. It's offside, isn't
Excuse
it?
the pun.
Bit offside, but you try and picture the two scenes.
Yeah, I know.
Claret jug and 18th green. Or
That's a
dirty
gut-wrenching
Leeds.
question. Dirty Leeds.
Dirty
Listen,
Leeds
at the end of the
cleaning
day,
up.
I've got to hold my hand on my heart and go, you know what, as much as I love Leeds United and want to see them promoted, you know, I mean, I've been every Open Championship since I was a 9-year-old boy, and it's been stolen off me a few times. So
the answer
brought
is
me
you'd
out.
rather,
Yeah,
you'd
when they
rather
open-
be an open.
when they open, then watch Leeds get promoted
It'd
year
be
after. How's
it'd
that?
be a playoff anyway.
So basically, so Billy's selfish is the answer to that question.
Right.
Next one. Back to you, Ricky. Go on. Give
Go
us
on,
one.
Ricky.
All right, Tel. What is the best way to improve your course management as an amateur?
Well, I don't know where to start with that really, but I can only look at pro-ams and I mean, if I'm playing, and I do it myself, you know, because obviously we're amateurs, but generally I just think amateurs are prepared to take on every shot there is, you know, whether that be a 3-wood over water that they've got a 5% chance of making, whereas I think a pro would just think things through and think, well, hold on.
Well,
what amateurs will go for everything. They just take everything on, and for them to improve, they've got to start looking at what their percentage chances are of pulling a shot off, and then every now and again saying, well, you know, if I had 20 goes, I might get a 3-wood on over that water on the green, but I'll just hit a 6-iron down there, wedge it on, and I'm making 4 or 5, you know.
Well, that's why
they
I
don't
say
do
the
that
key
enough.
to this question for me would be, that's why you have a handicap. So use the handicap.
Yeah, but you want your you don't want to play it. People don't want to play at their handicap every day, do they? They want to beat it. So if you're a 12, you want to go around in 8 over. So where you're going to get, you know, it's them 4 where you try and take the chances.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, you know, taking on that shot over the water, when you're better off just laying it up and then knocking it on the green. You know, so there's certain holes where you would use that handicap.
Laying it up and then chunking it in the water.
Yeah.
More like
Yeah.
So there's
why
two
didn't I
things.
go for it the first
We've
time? At
done-
least I've been
yeah.
here for 2, not 3.
Done thousands of primes between us, and there's 2 things that always stand out. Their alignment's shocking. They're always aiming like 30 yard right, and they never hit enough club.
Never enough club.
Because I think they're going to flush it out middle every shot. Well, guess what? You don't. You could use 2 clubs more and be better off most of the time. That's very true.
Yeah, that'd probably be the I would say the simplest answer to the question is, you know, stop thinking you know that you're going to hit that perfect 8 iron 150 or whatever. And I think if they all clubbed up,
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
if they all clubbed
Absolutely.
up, they would probably come down in handicap. Is a quick answer to that.
Here's one for you, Tel. Who is the slowest current player on tour, and would GPS lasers speed it up? That's actually a good question.
I think I'll answer the second one first because I've been asked this a lot because we do use lasers on the live tour now, and I think it works both ways because I think what if you've hit a perfect shot down the fairway, you know, and the sprinkler's right there and you pace, you know, whatever 4 onto it, you've got your number. But so what caddies are doing is they're doing it the normal way and then checking it with the laser. So that's obviously added time. But going back to when you hit one offline and you know your angles and it's so much quicker to just stand there and go bang, right, you know, and you know what the pin is and you can take that off and
I get that.
Then it's quicker.
But our friend Ken Comboy got it wrong the other week, didn't he? He must have hit the tower on.
Was that a joke or did he do that? I don't know.
I saw him 30 yards over the green.
Well, but I saw the shot and it pitched. The ground was rock hard. Did you see the shot? It pitched. I don't know, a little bit past the pin perhaps, but it pitched on a downslope, hit a cart path and went. I mean, they must have. He must because it was Coke Rack. He was playing the foursomes with Coke Rack, wasn't he? And I reckon he must have had. He had to have had 45 pin. That's one of them moments, isn't it, when you get stuff like that happen.
That's what happens when you're a Man United fan, though, isn't it?
I'm going to get ruined when I get in, which I'm sure he did. I'm sure he's probably still getting questioned. That's a couple of weeks ago now, and he'll still be getting mullered for that.
Happens to us all, mate. Happens to us all. I'm not getting too cocky because Fitz's first all at the Olympics, he got a flyer. I said, how's this going to come out? I said, it's going to come out dead. Hey, time. Come out like a rocket. Landed on the cart path just over the green. Bounced up, finished on the second tee. He had about 45 coming back.
I saw that shot.
Oh, just let the world just open up and swallow me here, right here.
But it's funny, isn't it? Because have you not caddied where you get the same lie, in your opinion, the same lie twice in a round?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And one comes out dead and one flies. So you are, you know, we're all guessing to a point, and all you can do is look at, you know, what the worst case scenario is. You know, if it comes out, are you better playing for the dead one and getting the flyer, or are you better playing for the flyer and getting the dead one? So if there's trouble in front, like if you're over water, you would definitely play for the dead one. Yeah. Coming out dead and think, well, if it flies, I'd rather be over the green than in the water, and then vice versa.
I mean,
if it's
right, you're boring me now. Yeah. Are we dodging the slowest player?
Oh,
Are we going to bottle it or what? No, I'm not. Well, I'll tell you what.
It used to be Kevin Na.
There's a
Definitely.
good list
I
of
think
those.
he's speeding himself up.
Langer, Harrington.
Currently, Tom Kim.
Oh, really?
Is he?
Brian Harmon, you know, he has,
Few
I
practice
think it's
swings.
12, is it, before he hits it?
Few practice swings there, yeah.
Can get dizzy watching him, like, but good players, great players, aren't they? Takes all types, but get on with it, lads, will you?
Yeah, I remember Steve Williams pulling Kevin Na over being slow, and he said they'd got in the scorers up at the end, and he was caddying for Scotty, Steve, and he said to Kevin Na, Kevin, have you ever watched a really bad movie? And he sort of looked at him. Yeah, why? He said, would you watch it again? He said, no, I wouldn't, no. He said, well, I can tell you that watching you out there today was like watching a bad movie over and over again. And he's like, he can't say that to me. Can he say that to me?
I've got to tell you this quickly. I mean, now that you're on Kevin Knight. So it was the week before Augusta one year, and we were playing in Houston. And on a Saturday, they'd gone to a 2T start for whatever reason. And we paired with Kevin Knight, and you had to take a cart out there. So Ernie and I get on this cart, drive out there, and this Kevin Knight's on the tee box. And he says to him, Ernie, I need to ask you a question. Ernie's staring down at him like this. So what's that? He says, I'm a little confused. Ernie looks at him again and says, confused about what? He says, well, I don't understand why you call yourself Ernie when your name is Theodore Ernest Else. And I'm looking at him like this, I'm thinking, and Else is like flush, you know. He goes, what did you say? He said, well, I don't understand why you call yourself Ernie when your name is actually Theodore. And I just turned around and I said, listen, you don't want to meet fucking Theodore. Okay? He just turned away. Because Ernie's best one when it comes to that, he says, you know, some guy will go, oh, you're Ernie Else. I said, no, my name's Theodore. He goes, no. You're that golfer, Ernie Else. He said, no, my name's Theodore. He says, Ernie Else plays golf. Theodore drinks.
I think he's, to be fair though, Kevin, I think, obviously got told a few times that he was, you know, I think he got fined and warned and whatever, and at least he did something about it, because I think he's a lot faster now than he used to be. It's the ones that just ignore it.
But did that not always go back to, I think it was TPC one year? He couldn't pull it away.
Well, he had that issue. Now I've seen that issue with 2 or 3 players where they can't take the club, and I don't know what the answer is then, because you've got to have a bit of sympathy for that. If you can't pull it back, you can't pull it back. Yeah. And, you know, the only way he's actually going to be able to do it is by keep putting, because I'm sure he didn't do that in practice rounds and weeks off. So you've got to keep playing tournaments to try and get through that. That must be horrendous. But yeah, anyway, through that now.